Good morning. It is Thursday, and on Thursday mornings, we have an opportunity to speak with Mayor Paul Coogan, who joins us every week to fill us in on what's happening across the city. Mayor, how are you? Welcome.
Hi, Keith. How's it going?
Good. How was your holiday?
Good, low key. We did get to the beach on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's like a little reprieve, and lets me go for a swim, and I fool around with some of the kids there, and I have some fun. But it's it's something to do. But
Yeah.
we need to
Absolutely.
change the climate in this city with this COVID, so people get more outside, and we're
Yeah.
working towards it. We're working towards it.
Yeah, and actually, that's what I want to start with in terms of COVID. You know, the numbers in the city have been very positive, low numbers of cases. I don't believe we've seen a fatality in a number of days now, which is good. But yesterday, the governor announced that there'll be some targeted testing being done in Fall River.
Right.
The city is one of 8 communities across the Commonwealth that will begin seeing targeted testing because overall, I guess, our numbers are a little higher than the average across the Commonwealth. Did the governor's office let you know about this? And I guess, how have you heard in terms of our numbers and how it plays out the rest, compared rather to the rest of the Commonwealth?
I just want to be clear. I'm not against free testing coming to Fall River, but I don't believe what was said yesterday was accurate relating to Fall River. Last night, I was on the phone with the Lieutenant Governor. I've talked to our Department of Health. I've talked to the director. The numbers that they had, that they attributed to Fall River, were more than double what we had for numbers during that 14-day period. I looked at the data, as I do every day, and we were ahead of a number of cities that have been in a big struggle with COVID compared to us: Brockton, Revere, Framingham, Worcester. And I don't think we're on that list. I have a meeting this afternoon with the COVID task force. I did forward the numbers I had to the Lieutenant Governor last night. We spoke, and I said, and she relayed to me that she and the governor had a conversation about it, and they were wondering how this happened too. I think what I did hear yesterday was over the last 2 weeks, they had us down for 94 positive cases when our Department of Health had us for 39. So there's a disconnect somewhere. I hope we get to the bottom of it today. And as I said, I'm not against the free testing, but I don't want people to think that there's a spike or a jump in Fall River, because our numbers over the last 2 weeks have been, other than problem we had one day with the nursing home, our numbers have been excellent.
Yeah, and I know that even some of the state reporting, I look at it every day, as you do, at 4 o'clock, getting ready to see those updated numbers. And I know that even some of the numbers that they've reported on their website has changed, and actually changed to see it was lower. Then you have to kind of delve in to see that there was an increase even statewide, but that's an issue that the state is dealing with. So, I mean, I know there's been,
I want people to know. I want people to know that until we get to the bottom of this, I'm hoping by 5 o'clock this afternoon, we will release something which will be much more accurate, I hope. And if we're wrong, we will, of course, apologize and move on. And if the state's wrong and they want to still give us the free testing, that's fine. But I don't want it based on numbers that are inaccurate. That's not fair to the residents. These guys have done a great job down here.
Yeah, I know. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. I know my point was going to be that there's many times where the state has made adjustments to numbers, right? We've seen it sometimes over the weekend where there would be a spike, or there are even some days that they took some cases away because of where people were living in the addresses. So there's so much into this that it's very difficult for everyone to follow along. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And hopefully we'll get some updates later today or in the coming days. I want to get back to the holiday weekend. Again, people out and about. There still continue to be a large number of complaints for fireworks in the city of Fall River. I believe I read somewhere close to 300 complaints over the weekend. Has it lessened any bit since after the holiday?
Yeah, it's definitely. Yesterday, we had 5 complaints last night for fireworks, and I think the day before we had 2. It seems like it's dissipating a little bit. Again, fireworks are fireworks, but if someone gets one that goes off in their face or it starts a fire in a building, it's going to be a whole different thing. So we're asking people, the 4th of July is done, fireworks season is over. let's get back to being just good old contributing members of the Fall River community.
Yeah. Be a little more responsible now that the holiday is over.
Yeah, no kidding.
Moving forward, we're in now phase 3 of the reopening here in the Commonwealth. In Fall River, businesses like gyms, fitness centers are able to reopen. From what you're hearing from businesses that have been open for a while, and some of those that have been reopening, have they been getting somewhat back to normal, despite the restrictions that they still all face?
Yeah, I have not heard anything from the gyms. Like I said, I'm a member at the Y, and I haven't been back there yet. I do like to use the steam room, so when they open that up is probably when I'll go back. But my wife swims, so she's going to call and make an appointment and I'll do a few laps. But the restaurants seem like they're slowly starting to pick up a little bit. I have gone out to eat a few times in Fall River. Some of the places that were closed are open. Some are still under restrictions because of the seating requirements. But I think it's going to slowly come back as we roll into the fall. And I think you'll see a number of places opening up and working their way back to normal.
Speaking of working itself back to normal, any updates on the school department and plans for the fall? I know that it's been a couple of weeks since the governor announced that there are some possibilities of hybrid, full in-person and remote learning.
Right.
Any idea on how the schools are ready to plan for this?
We still have a planning committee going with the schools. I did notice yesterday that the Catholic schools all said they're going to be open in the fall with students in front of teachers. I could be wrong, but I think Fall River is heading that way. The variables we're looking at is how many people do not return. They want to do online learning. How many teachers might, for whatever health reason, not be able to come back, and what it's going to cost, especially related to transportation. I think most of the in-house costs we can take care of, but there's going to be a horrible knock if we have to fulfill those seating requirements for busing. Those are the variables that are still in play, just like the budget and things in the city. So we're gonna just ride it out and see where this takes us.
As we head toward the middle of July, as we know, the City Council approved a 1-month budget for the city of Fall River. There was talk that you'd be providing a full 2021 budget. I know the state is still working on its numbers. Are you still hoping to get something to the council? I believe they're meeting next week.
Right. I think the 15th, the state is going to release some numbers related to funding on their end for the city of Fall River. I'm working on another letter today to our federal delegation about that CARES Act money and what their plans are for that. For us, those are the two biggest variables. We have gotten a couple of indicators on our parking ticket revenue and on our new growth monies that weren't as severe as we thought. But we are by no means out of the woods yet. We have a lot of work to do. And we're going to keep plugging away this week. And hopefully by the 15th, the state gives us some indications and we can build a budget.
Now, has the city reinstituted parking meter fees, or is that still up in the air?
You pay at a parking meter now and you can get a ticket if you run over.
Okay, so if you're downtown, you haven't been downtown in a while, you have to start feeding the meters again. How has traffic been within Government Center? Are people more willing to come in to conduct business there?
Yeah, I think people do come in. I just got a laundry list of cities that haven't opened yet. We've opened now for about 2 weeks. We haven't had a problem yet. People are, very respectful. We ask them to fill out a questionnaire, which we're simplifying right now. Come on in, make an appointment, and conduct your business. Again, we have Bay Coast Bank, which has 5 branches, which has definitely been on the uptick for their collections. And we're just trying to make sure that, let's face it, we're public servants. We work for the people of the city. If we're not accommodating them, then what are we doing? I mean, we have to make sure that they get the services they need to be able to go forward, whether it's building a shed, an addition on a house, a birth certificate, a marriage certificate. We want the city to be serving the residents. And if someone feels more comfortable coming in, we should be able to find a way to accommodate them safely, whether it's with a mask or a hand washing station. We'll do what we have to do.
In terms of tax collections, how have they been? Obviously, federal and state income taxes are actually due next week. the 15th of July was delayed from April. How have the city's receipts been in terms of real estate and car taxes?
I know that the car excise was down, but again, that's when those taxes are down, Keith, you're going to collect them because when they go to register their car next year, they have to make good on those taxes. And the same with real estate. Sometimes that's a little longer chase. They were both down. I don't want to give you a number, but hopefully going forward, people even up their accounts and we get a couple of breaks on some support from the federal government and the state government, and we can get Fall River going again.
And one final note, I just happened to notice this week there was a map published. I apologize for not crediting who published the map. Had to deal with the U.S. Census. I know that your office has some money coming in from the Secretary of State to have people go out and help people fill out the census. Fall River was on the lower end in terms of the South Coast. I believe only 52% of people have completed the census. I know that your office has been pushing out memos and videos from people to get residents to fill out the U.S. Census because it's very important. I guess what else can the city do to try to get participation up?
Well, obviously, we're doing grassroots campaigning. We have tables set up on the boardwalk. We have people calling each other. We have people going. The other night, I went to a little cookout at the Elks Club. We had a representative there going around with a iPad trying to get people to sign up for the census or sign up to be counted as residents. It's very important to the city financially. We have a great crew of kids. I knew many of them from Durfee, and they're all over here pitching in. And we're going to keep grinding. We have I think a couple months left, and our goal is not 52%. Our goal is much higher than that, but we're going to move in that. Hopefully we have a cleanup on Saturday morning from 9 to 11, and I think we're going to be making an announcement probably beginning next week about a drive-in movie we're going to do for the citizens. And, it is a very limited year for activities, but we're going to try to get some stuff going.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about the cleanup. I'm glad you did. I was going to ask you about that. What areas of the city are going to be targeted this time?
We have a couple of requests from the south end that we'll head down that way. We still want to go back to Alden Street if possible. It depends on what kind of participation we get. I thought the crew that we had last year, a couple weeks ago, the Fall River Titans and the residents that came out and met us at Walmart did a great job on Pleasant Street and all along that Walmart Quikasham Street and strip, and it definitely cleaned it up. Obviously, we don't even want to be doing cleanups. We want people to throw their trash in a barrel. We want people to take care of themselves. But again, you always have a few. And the more sections of the city that we can make look good. I drive around a lot, and I think the city looks pretty good right now. I do get frustrated with the amount of trash in some areas, but we're going to tackle a wide swath of areas. I mean, we got a request from King Philip Street. We got a request from Broadway. And if we can send out teams of 4 or 5 to tackle an area, that'll be great. And the more areas we clean, the better the city will look.
Yep. All right, Mayor Paul Coogan, thank you as always. We'll talk again next week. Have a great weekend.
Keith, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, take care. We want to thank you for joining us as well as we have these weekly catch-ups with Mayor Paul Coogan. And we invite you to join us later on today on Thursday at 6 p.m. on Channel 95 and on Facebook. We'll have our weekly FRCmedia newscast, which will recap some of the events we've covered throughout the week. I'm Keith Tebow. Thank you for joining us and have a great rest of your Thursday.